Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So what are your impressions of Valhalla, just for folks that have not seen it on TV or didn't watch the Ryder Cups or past majors? You know, they see a PGA maybe at a Southern Hills Spoon or a Bet Page or, whatever it might be. And they're like, Valhalla and Louisville, Kentucky. But like, look at the tournaments produced and it's insane. Yeah. It really has. And obviously, of course, I'm biased toward it.
Only on SportsGrid.
Draisaitl could easily, at plus money, get the first goal, the second goal, the fourth goal. There's a few guys here. Maybe the prop betting market is not a bad way to look here.
Clippers over the Madden. If I would have told you that score before the game, knowing that Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing, I would have really figured it would have been the other way around. But the NBA is just crazy.
InGame Live, all access. Only on SportsGrid.
DraftKings making a progressive move, I think, that most other companies are also going to do or have done in the past. Adding someone from the government or someone you would say in legislation to become their responsible gaming leader here. And in this case, her name is Lori Kalani.
And it'll be interesting to see if other companies try to follow suit in terms of hiring former lobbyists to head responsible gaming.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome in. It's InGame Live, prime time on a wonderful Wednesday evening. Scott Wetzel, Joe Madden sitting in for Dave Sherpan, my partner in crime on weekends. It joins us here on a Wednesday evening, talking a little baseball, a little hockey tonight. NBA is off. That won't resume until tomorrow night, so we have time to get down to the pucks. Got a little French Open parlay that we'll throw at you as well. We got same-game parlays, also Black Clouds as well. But as I mentioned, my partner in crime for the next 2 hours, Miss Joe Madden. What's going on, Joe? Good to see you during the week.
Yeah, great to see you too. I'd be doing so much better if the Baltimore Orioles didn't put up 5 runs early in this game here versus the Red Sox. I was riding the under 3.5 in the first 5, Scott, and I'm frustrated right now because we're at the bottom of the 5th and it is a 5-1 game. We shouldn't have had 5 runs out of the Orioles in that first 5 innings. I'm just shaking my head.
Yeah, I told you over the weekend, although the Red Sox did win, yesterday, they rarely beat Baltimore. So I'm not surprised that they are leading. But yeah, who expected 5 runs? That's a tough. That's why I generally don't say always, right? Because nothing's always in gambling. But I generally don't do first 5s just because, it's bad enough to lose, but to lose before the game is even over, I guess it's why I don't play unders, very often. I usually play overs, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, hockey, because you always have a shot at that over. So I don't like having a losing ticket, Joe, before the game is actually over/done.
See, we're the exact opposite. I'd rather rip off that Band-Aid. The worst for me is the bottom of the 9th inning and that over not hitting or that under not hitting. It's just the worst. So I love looking at the first 5. I love looking at those nerfies, those yarfies. Get the pain over and done with if I'm going to have it, and then free up my betting account if I'm going to win it to get back in these games for some more live action. So I like instant gratification out there, Scott.
Yeah. See, when I bet unders, like I did yesterday with Cubs and Brewers, I think it was under 8 or under 7.5. I forget which one. 2-1, heading to the bottom of the 9th inning. They tie it. They go to extra innings. Still, I got plenty of runs to give, Joe. 3-4 runs to give, right? They score 7 runs in the 10th inning. Game ends up 6-3. The game goes over. I think I have a winning and that's why I don't bet unders, because when you have that over ticket, you're just never, ever, ever, ever out of it. So, Lesson learned. It'll be a cold day, and you know where next time I buy an under ticket. So overs we go across the board today.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of them, but I do like the over in the hockey game before we get into all the baseball stuff. But we got a little game 4 before we break it all down. Dallas at Edmonton, Joe. Kind of moment of truth for the Oilers, right? Down 2-1. Not that they couldn't win, down 3-1, but they'd have to win 3 straight. 2 of those would have to be in Dallas. So for all intents and purposes, it's Edmonton tonight. Just an overview on Oilers and Dallas Stars tonight. Edmonton minus 135 or so favorites, and Dallas plus 115, 114. There you see underdog.
You know, looking at the odds here, Scott, I just can't bite on the Edmonton Oilers at that price. I think all of the value is with the Dallas Stars, especially when you look at how strong they've been on the road during the playoffs and in this series. They are sitting 2-1 in this series, and I think they have every ability to take game 4, but I don't think this is going to come easy for either of these teams. I do think we have possibility of overtime. I'm looking for a 3-2 style game with a 2-2 going into OT, but I think the value is on the Dallas Stars in this one, Scott.
Yeah, I tell you, it's amazing, Joe. Talking to some people, no one loves Dallas tonight, but I can't find anyone that even just says, no, I think Edmonton's going to tie it. It's all kind of leaning towards Dallas. I feel the same way. I like the Stars tonight. They're 6-1, as you see there on the road. Oilers are good at home. I get that, but Dallas just showed that they were capable of beating Edmonton on the road as they did in Game 3. So, it's really based on, you want to give me plus 114, 115, 110, whatever it is. I might as well take the odds in a series that might be pick'em. That I kind of thought Dallas was the better team anyway.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
now that Robertson back, right? The hat trick there for Robertson in game 3 is, if you're a Dallas fan, you really have to be encouraged. And Rupe Hintz is now back as well. Yeah, I think Dallas wins tonight, Joe.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal game in that last one out. And I did think Dallas would take the series in 5 or 6. So I'm feeling still comfortable with that bet, with them taking the last game. And you said it, Rupe Hintz back in this lineup was able to set up Jason Robinson on a couple of those goals, and Jason Robinson with that hat trick. It was phenomenal to see what the Dallas Stars were able to do, and Wyatt Johnson got in the mix in that last game too. They have so much depth over there. The only thing that does scare me is when we look at Stuart Skinner and what a bad game he had in that last one out. In the playoffs so far, when he's coming off a game like that, he's been able to come back in the next game and play phenomenal and record the win. So even though I'm on Dallas tonight, I did look at Stuart Skinner's save shots on goal and take that to the over. Scott, it was 23.5 at minus 110, I believe, to the over under. I'm just going to have to check those numbers at what it is at right now. But I do like Skinner still to have a solid day, but I think it's going to be a lower scoring goaltending defensive kind of battle out there on the ice. Is going to be great. I can't wait for the puck to drop tonight.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. That's for sure. We'll go over some of the props and some of the different bets that we'll do here in a little bit. But baseball, my favorite, well, one of them. I got a bunch of them. But one of them, Joe, Toronto laying a 1.5 at the Chicago White Sox. They're 11-1 against the White Sox. With 9 of those 11 wins coming by 2 runs or more for whatever. And listen, everyone's beating Chicago. I get that. But, especially Toronto, your Blue Jays, no score tonight, only second inning. So minus 128 favorites, which I think is a pretty good bargain at this point because the White Sox have a runner on second base. Who cares in the bottom of the second? Boy, you took a 2-1 favorite and you dropped them down to less than 130 just because there's a runner on second base. I would gladly take Toronto. I like that play a lot.
I love where you're going there. Just quickly want to interject. I just saw it flash up on the TV. The Edmonton Oilers have had Corey Perry and Ryan McLeod warm up tonight and will be injecting them into the lineup. So that is really interesting, you guys. I would be looking at Corey Perry props. He has been so quiet and has not been playing in these last couple games. They got him for a reason. Corey Perry can be phenomenally strong when he comes to play. But back to the baseball, Scott, I love where you're going there. I actually took the over in this game. Now that total sitting at 7.5 plus 106 to the over. I would hit on it. I took it at 8.5. We got Alek Manoah and Chris Flexen. Alek Manoah, I still don't trust out there, and I don't trust the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen. Chris Flexen, we know how he's been struggling. It's kind of laughable how much he struggled in some of these games. So the over 7.5, I know we're only the bottom of the second and there's no runs. There's a runner on third right now. for the Chicago White Sox. It's Manoah doing what Manoah does. I do think the Blue Jays can win here, cover that run line, but we can still go over the total. And yeah, that's what I'm liking, Scott. We do have a run there. Oh, sorry, that was the Twins. The Twins just got a run on the board.
Okay. Corey Perry, back to that for a second. He hasn't played in a while. He hasn't played this series. He missed at least the last game, if not the last two, if memory serves me right, against Vancouver. So, sign of desperation for Edmonton, you think? Or just, listen, they, as you mentioned, they picked him up for a reason. So, how many games is he going to sit on the bench? Let's give him another crack at this thing.
It's desperation. They've got to change things, and they got to change them really fast because Dallas has been controlling all the momentum after that first period in the last game. Corey Perry, like I said, they brought him in. They've sat him because he wasn't impactful. He needs to come out. He needs to prove his worth. Remember, his contract is up this year with the Edmonton Oilers. He's going to be shopping for a new team. He wants to show what he can show out there, Scott.
Interesting. Don't know if FanDuel or the others have any props on him. Maybe if they didn't, then maybe they'll put some up just to, not a bad little hunch play on a guy that hasn't played in over a week, literally, missed a couple of games. So he's getting a little extra giddy up, a little extra motivation, a little extra jump in his step, putting him down for a point or even a goal, which he's not. I don't think he said maybe one goal this postseason. Might not be a bad little hunch play. So. All right, we'll take a little break here. Come back. Louis Fidacaro, Gamble Lou will join us. He'll break down his NHL plays for tonight here on the Grid.
Using the parlays against one another, right, and being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer, too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
InGame Live, PrimeTime, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. And it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for, so I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. Mm-hmm. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. InGame Live, PrimeTime here on the Grid on a wonderful Wednesday evening, getting set for some baseball and some NHL playoffs. Scott Wetzel and Joe Bat sitting in for Dave Sherapan tonight until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Joined now by a guy you see from time to time, here on the Grid, whether it's the radio side or TV side, Louis Fidacaro, Gamble Lou joining us here. What's going on, Louis? How are you tonight, bud?
Not too much. I'm doing well, and thank you so much for having me on. Pleasure to join you, Scott, as well you, Joe.
Yeah, it's great to have you here tonight. We've got a huge game out there on the ice, game 4 between the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers. How have you been finding this series so far, Lou?
I'm enjoying the series, and I'm enjoying hockey playoffs overall, especially after the first round. The first round saw home teams really have a little bit of an edge in results. However, since that first round, road teams 18 and 11. I'm a big road team believer, not only because they seem to do well against the other team's crowd, but you're often getting price advantage from opening lines, just like tonight with Dallas.
Well, since you're a road team guy, I imagine then, Lou, you like Dallas tonight?
Yes, I do. They opened a couple days ago plus 100. Currently, if you shop around, you get anywhere from plus 114 to 116. So I'll call it plus 115. There were a couple sites plus 120 earlier today. So the fact that road teams are having success and I'm getting 15 cents over the opening line is enough for me. Yes, I'm on Dallas.
Now we've got a total of 5.5 in this one. Any thoughts on this total? Are you leaning one way or another, Lou?
Yeah, I lean to the under, and I tend to be an under guy overall. Now I have no position on the total tonight, but I do believe this time of the year you're going to see some unders. Now, I've been incorrect on this series a couple of times, but again, I haven't been very active with the totals, Joe.
Who do you think was going to win the series, and who do you think is going to win the series, Lou?
I am fortunate enough to have Dallas and Florida futures, and so I've come back with some various parlays. We're in Arizona. We have DraftKings and the whole menu of national outfits. And the menu they offer, you can take series bets. I have a lot of Edmonton plus 2.5 games, so it wouldn't kill me if they won tonight and tied this up. It would surely help the bankroll. That said, I really compartmentalize and keep series plays away from daily plays.
Now, looking at tonight's game, what players are you really high on? We know Roope Hintz came back in the last game for the Dallas Stars, and Jason Robinson was able to get that hat trick. Connor McDavid able to get those shots on goal in the last game. Leon Draisaitl a little bit quieter. Is there anyone that you have circled for goals tonight or shots on goal or even that block shot market?
Yeah, I like the total points. And they're flashing up Evander Kane. I think if Edmonton is going to have success, they're going to have to get something out of Evander Kane. All he has to do is get an assist or a goal, and he gets us plus money. I also saw, quite honestly, that Roope Hintz was plus 120 for just gaining over a half a point, which I found a little bit surprising. He's really central to Dallas's whole team. But I think if Edmonton's going to have any success tonight, they got to find something from Evander Kane.
What do you make, Louis, if you heard they're going to start Corey Perry? First time this series, missed the last 2 against Vancouver. Sign of desperation? Or maybe you wonder why he hasn't been in the lineup more before now?
No, he's lost his speed, but he's in there for grit and heart. He's got a lot of experience. He's going to instigate in front of the net. He's going to fall all over the Stars goaltender, Ottinger. They also added a defenseman, Broberg, that's going to try and shore up their defense a little, and they threw a little speed in there with McLeod. I think it's a little desperation, but Edmonton's got to shake it up and find a way to win a game.
Yeah, they absolutely have to shake it up. They don't want to go back to Dallas 3-1 in this series, but I could absolutely see it happening, especially if Stuart Skinner doesn't step up. Now in the playoffs, we have seen him step up after having bad games like he did in the last. He's got a safe shot on goal prop here, Lou, of 23.5. You're going to lay juice to the under, but you're minus 106 only to the over. Do you think it would be a strong play to look at Stuart Skinner for his props tonight? Or do you think this is one where Jake Ottinger can have a solid night, go over 27.5 save shots on goal? You got to wonder if Edmonton can get enough to go over that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Edmonton can put that much pressure on a defensive-minded team like Dallas. Consequently, I don't know that Skinner's been the problem for Edmonton up until now. What I see as a big problem is possession, and possession is faceoffs. Dallas 52+% on faceoffs, and Edmonton 47%. They got to address the circle.
I got about a minute or so left, Lou. What do you make of Rangers and Florida Panthers? Tied 2-2. Both teams have been able to win on the road. Are we destined for a Game 7 in that series? And ultimately, who do you think wins?
Scott, you took the words right out of my mouth. I definitely think this one goes 7. And I'm going to, of course, I have the Florida futures. I lean to Florida and Dallas originally because these teams both got there last year and got their face rubbed in frustration, and they were sent home. And for that reason, I think we're going to see Dallas play Florida in the final.
Do you think that Florida has a better goaltender over the New York Rangers, Bobrovsky or Igor?
I think this year I'm going to give the lean to Bobrovsky. We know Shesterkin's the better goaltender, but Bobrovsky's got the chip on his shoulder. He's the older Russian that's watching Shesterkin get all the headlines, and he's playing with a chip, and I think he has a better defense in front of him as well.
Louie, great job as always. Check out his website, Gamble Lou. It's GAMBLOU.com. And he's the host of About Business podcast as well, which I'm sure, Louie, you can catch at your normal podcast places.
Absolutely. At gamblu.com on Friday. And thanks so much for having me, you guys.
You got it, Louie. Anytime. There you go. In-game live. Prime time continues after this.
Using the parlays against one another, right, and being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on the grid. Scott Wetzel and Joe Madden just getting underway. Hour number 1, thanks to Gamble Lou. Check out his website again, GAMBL for Gamble, no E, but then Lou, O-U, so gamblelou.com. Check out his website and his podcast that he has. So a lot to get to tonight, including some same-game parlays. All right, Joe, you and I both have some same-game parlays. I'll go first. I'm going to start with Dallas and Edmonton, the hockey game, which gets underway in about 20 minutes or so still plenty of time to get this in. We're going to use 4 pieces. We're going to pay 11-1. Not bad little payoff if it hits. When it hits, I should say. We're going to use Dallas. I do like the Stars. Louis is also on the Stars, so plus 114. I think Dallas finds a way. I just think they're the better team. But now that they got Hintz back and they got Robertson going, I don't see them losing again in this series, to tell you the truth. So Dallas plus the 114. I'm going to go over 5.5. Yeah, I kind of hemmed and hawed on the over or the under. And I just flipped a coin. As I said, I don't like betting unders too often. So, I'm thinking 2-2 like you are, third period, get a goal, empty netter, and we win 4-2 when the game goes over. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. And then I got to go on Jason Robertson. Listen, he was dormant for the longest time. Last game, he gets a hat trick. Maybe that's opened up the Pandora's box. He's found the formula for success. So I'm going to use him anytime goal, plus 260, and 3 shots on goal, plus 110. I figure if he's going to get a goal, there's 1 shot on goal right there, right? So you only need 2 more, and you're getting plus odds on him. And again, maybe found a little something. And I do think Edmonton, Joe's going to be a little desperate, and I think they're going to take a few more chances. And I think that's going to open the door for Dallas to have a few more opportunities as well. So Stars to win, over 5.5. Robertson goal. Robertson 3 shots on goal or more, and it pays 11-1. What do you think?
Ooh, that's some nice plus money on that one, Scott. I like where you're going. I think Jason Robinson is so hot right now. There's no way I would be fading him. He's going to play another phenomenal game. I've got a 6-leg parlay, Scott, and it's all shots on goal. And this one pays plus 29.24. I'm going big tonight. I wanted some plus money. I've got my daughter's birthday party to pay for.
Are you sure this is Joe Madden? Joe Madden on weekends has like 2-piece parlays that pay 20-1, but somehow or another there's only like 2 or 3 legs. So, all right, a 6-piecer. That's usually me. Fire away. My bad.
I know. You're rubbing off on me, Scott. So looking at this one, looking at those shots on goal props. Now, I've actually faded a couple of Oilers players in this one for under on their shots on goal. Those 2 players being Connor McDavid, under 3.5 shots on goal, and Leon Draisaitl, under 3.5 shots on goal, which I know is scary, but Leon Draisaitl in the last game only had 3 shots on goal. In game 2, he was held to 2 shots on goal, and in game 1, he had 3 shots on goal. So he's yet to go over 3.5 shots on goal in this series. Connor McDavid, on the other hand, he did go over in the last game, had 6 shots on goal, but I'm expecting in this one for the Stars to be able to do what they did in game 2 and game 3, which is really limit Connor McDavid out there. So give me him under 3.5 shots on goal. And then the rest of the players, I'm looking for the overs. So the other player on Edmonton, Evander Kane, over 2.5 shots on goal. He has to get in the mix tonight for Edmonton. Rupe Hintz of the Dallas Stars, I'm getting him over 1.5 shots on goal. We know how strong he is. He was able to get the assist in the last game. I see those shots coming in this one. He had 2 shots in the last game, so he went over that number. Jamie Benn has been phenomenally strong as well. Over 1.5 shots for Jamie Benn. In the last game, he was held to 1, but in the 2 games prior, he did go over that. He had 2 and 4. And then the last leg of this is Rupe Hintz, Jason Robinson, over 2.5 shots on goal. Like you said, Scott, Jason Robinson with the hat trick in the last game, 4 shots on goal, over 2.5. This is a plus bet or plus money bet outside of it as well. Well, he's adjusted a bit, minus 105 right now. So 6 legs, plus 29.64, Scott.
Not bad. Not bad. Let me ask you, because I don't like this at all. I really don't. But I'm only looking at FanDuel. FanDuel offers these shots on goal, Joe, first 60 minutes, which I hate. I just don't think that's fair. The game goes to overtime. Game goes to overtime. Why shouldn't those shots in overtime count? So are these just first 60-minute shots, do you know, or are they just for the entire game no matter what?
Entire game no matter what. I never take the first 60-minute bets.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I just don't think, sometimes you got to put your line in the sand and just say, I'm not crossing that. At a protest, I wouldn't make bets like that. It's not fair. It's not right. So, all right, there you go. A couple of same-game parlays.
the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
InGame Live, PrimeTime, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back, InGame Live, PrimeTime here on the grid. Scott Wetzel and Joe Madden in for Dave Sherapan tonight, getting set for the start of the hockey game in about 10 minutes, Joe. So before we get to baseball, which we have time for, why don't we see if we can find a couple of props here, a couple of goofy bets we can make with the hockey game, which again starts in about 10 minutes or so. So, if you like Dallas, and we both do, right? Now, it's not going to bump it up that much, because the regular line is plus 114 or so, 110 on FanDuel. But you could do a little parlay, go under goalie props, and then you scroll down, and there's a goalie saves parlay icon. Hit that. You got to go through like 5,000 different things here to find this stuff. And you can get Jake Ottinger to have 20 saves, and they win at plus 130. Now, again, it's not bumping it up that much, but, the chances are he's going to get 20 saves. Or you could kind of press that and go 25 saves and Dallas wins at plus 190, or even 30 saves and Dallas wins at plus 420. Any of those interest you?
I was playing around with this a little bit, Scott, and I kind of went like, are we going to go big or go home in this one? I think if Edmonton is able to get at least 25 shots, 30 shots, you could even look at the 35 plus save shots on goal for Jake Ottinger. Edmonton's going to be desperate in this one, especially when we get into that third period and if this one gets pushed to overtime. And I do think Jake Ottinger can stand on his head in this. So I kind of like Jake Ottinger to record 35 plus save shots on goal and Dallas to win. But the problem is on FanDuel, that is in 60 minutes. So it is asking so much. But I think Edmonton, the amount of firepower that they can bring in with the change-ups in the lineup here, Scott, they have every opportunity in this one to get those shots. We saw in game one a flurry of shots out there on the ice.
Yeah. I lost one of those last night. I had Bobrovsky with 25 saves and Florida wins. And I thought it was a winning ticket, but I guess he didn't have 25 in regulation. It went to overtime and he got to 25. So I kind of, again, I said I don't do it, but I did it last night. It kind of stinks. But at least this is, I don't know why they do that. I really don't, except that, you turn a winning ticket into a losing ticket, which is what they want. I will tell you this. They played 6 times. so far this season, Joe. 3 in the postseason here, obviously, and then 3 in the regular season. Edmonton in the 6 games have had 49, 24, but that was, I think, a 5-0 blowout Dallas win. 35, 38, 29, and 30 shots on goal. So I would definitely be comfortable saying 25. I wouldn't waste my time with 20. Knowing that they're more than likely going to get around 30 or so shots on goal, so he's going to get 25. You might be pressing a little bit, need a little luck to get 30 or maybe even 35, but knowing that they've had 38 in one of the games and they've had 49 and 35 in 2 of the regular season games, they could go for 35-40 tonight. I don't think it's a bad little bet to put a couple shekels on those things. And you're getting decent odds. The 35-1, what I say, was plus 420. 30 saves is plus 420. You really want to press it. Oh, they don't even give you 35. Bastards. All right, 30 is the highest you go at plus 420. And then 25 is plus 190.
Yeah, the plus 190 is so attractive. What do you think about who will dominate? Yeah. Dominate those face-offs, Scott. Minus 113 on both sides to dominate the face-offs in that first period. Lou brought up a good point. The Dallas Stars have been able to hold 53% of those face-off wins. Do you think Edmonton, though, in this first period, has their best opportunity to get up in this game? We know this team is so strong in that first period. I was trying to look at here if we could look at Edmonton's total shots on goal in the first period, because I do think that is where they come out the strongest. What are your thoughts on the first period?
Yeah, I like that. I like playing on the trailing team, especially when it's at home. The place is going to be buzzing, right? They got to win. They got to come out flying. Snake bitten last game. And, they were playing so well early game 3, and then, they kind of fell apart. So it's a little extra like, this one really kind of stinks. So I think you're right. I think any kind of Edmonton, whether it's score first, Joe, goal first, 5-10 minutes maybe, more shots on goal first period. And if you're Dallas, right, you're kind of probably saying just the opposite. Like, hey, guys, let's survive the first 10 minutes. Let them get their emotion out. Don't do anything crazy. Don't let them, jump out to a 2-3-0 lead. So I would be leaning towards some of those Edmonton first period plays.
Scott, listen to this. I just found a really interesting bet over on FanDuel. Now, this is an Edmonton shots on goal time bands bet, which I've never seen before. So it reads out exactly this way. 1+ shots on goal in the first minute of time. That means when you're seeing that clock, it's between the 20-minute mark down to 19:01 remaining. Plus 120 for Edmonton to have 1 shot on goal in that first minute out there, which is really, that's 59 seconds, right? No, it's a minute. And then 2+ shots on goal is at plus 600. Can they have 2 shots on goal in that first minute? Plus 600, Scott? I don't know. The Dallas Stars could hold them.
Yeah, I mean, 1 shot in the first 1 minute, they 2 shots. By the way, they got a guy. Is this common, Joe? They have the Edmonton Oilers guy singing the national anthem in the stands. Is that a normal?
Yes.
That is okay.
You love it. Bring the fans into this. He gets a microphone in front of the person that awkwardly doesn't want to sing at all. It's absolutely perfect. I love it.
So this is just some Joe Schmo in the stands. This is not like a real singer who just happens to be in the stand. This is just like some guy that is comfortable singing the national anthem in the stands.
No, it's a real singer, but then he'll be like standing beside someone and he'll put it in front of them for a word or two. It's absolutely awesome.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. I've never seen that. I've never seen it before. So, all right. And I guess he does the national anthem for both cities or both countries. So, just a little goofy. All right, I got Dallas to score first, plus 115. Edmonton to score first, plus 115. Edmonton total goals a half, minus 166 first period. You feel comfortable laying $1.66?
I don't like laying minus 166 on anything, but
I know.
I don't know,
I know.
Scott. Right? It's so hard
They
when you
can't
look
get
at the
shut
juice.
out,
They can't.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, first period, obviously, but you would think they would come out flying.
They have to.
Yeah. I'm going to put it in. Or we could go over 1.5 goals first period, minus 112.
I could see that.
Do you think it's going to be a low-scoring game?
Down. I do, but that first period, we've seen in all of these games in this series, either it be highly explosive or no goals at all. And I do think with Edmonton, their best bet, and especially with these line changes with Corey Perry and Ryan McLeod back in the lineup, this team's going to come out on absolute fire in that first period. I'm going to take the 2+ shots in that first minute plus 600. Scott, I can't say no. I just can't. I think the fire is there.
All right, that's all right. The 2 shots in the first 1 minute, right? Wow.
Yeah.
Where do you see that bet? It's probably locked now, but where are those bets? Those are kind of fun.
Under
Where are those
popular,
at?
you go all the way
Popular?
down to Edmonton Oilers shots on goal time bans. And then they've got the Dallas time bans. Dallas to get 2+ shots in the first minute is plus 600 as well. So you can take the last minute for those shots, everything, all the minutes. It's so much fun.
I see it now. I see that. That's and actually those are still up there. So you know what? Put them in there. Put them all. I'm going to bet them all, so we have action on all of them. Why not? Tons of shots on goal tonight. Drop the first puck when we come back.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
InGame Live, PrimeTime, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. InGame Live, PrimeTime here on the grid. Hour number 1, 44 past the hour. Scott Wetzel and Joe Madden sitting in for Dave Sheridan, watching a little NHL. Yes, Joe. Just like that, less than 2 minutes in, I believe, and the Dallas Stars actually score first. I mean, you could not have painted a worse picture for the Edmonton Oilers, down 2-1. Little wrist shot by Wyatt Johnson over the glove. I mean, he had an open shot, but, on Skinner. I don't know if that's necessarily a weak goal, but it did go over his glove. He, tried to catch it, and he just missed it, kind of fanned on it a little bit. So, not even, forget 2 minutes, not even a minute in. 58 seconds in, 1-0 Dallas. Yikes. First losing bet on the hockey game on Edmonton to score first. So much for that. I did put over 1.5.
Yeah, and Dallas, that was their first shot on goal, and I was unable to get any shots out of the Edmonton Oilers in that first minute. One interesting thing I just did see, Jamie Benn, this is his 100th playoff game of his career tonight. So we know he's been phenomenally strong out there. I think Jamie Benn's come to play tonight. Corey Perry, uneventful in his first shift out there on the ice. Scott, do you really think Corey Perry is done here? Do you think after Edmonton, do you think he's going to play anywhere else?
He may try. No goals, no assists for Corey Perry in 10 playoff games. I mean, if the thinking I would have is if you can't score with the Chicago Blackhawks, all right, I get it. No big deal. But if you can't score, Joe, with the Edmonton Oilers, I mean, you can't ask for a better, higher scoring team and better line mates and everything else, right? So will someone take a flyer on a 38-year-old, soon to be 38-year-old? This would be the type of team, right? A team that, thinks they have one veteran, one gritty guy that's going to put us over the top, and he's, clearly not doing that. So this might be it for him. This might be his last game, right? Because if they don't win tonight, and he doesn't do anything, he's probably not playing in Game 5. So.
Oh, absolutely. Right. So those odds have updated. The Dallas Stars are now minus 180 favorites. They were plus 14, plus 15, 115 going into this game. The Edmonton Oilers are now at plus 140, and that total has jumped all the way to 6.5, Scott, minus 140 to the over, plus 110 to the under. What are your thoughts on these live lines?
I'm a surprised, but I'm not surprised. It's hockey. Boy, we've seen so many line craze. And a lot of it is predicated, Joe, on the VIG. Growing up, if a team was favored by 180, the underdog would be plus 170 or maybe 160, right? So, but now they could pump the favorite, which is now Dallas, even though they were, an underdog to start, and just say, all right, put them up to 180. We don't want any more Dallas money, but let's not give anything to Edmonton. We'll only make them plus 140. So, and now 138. It's dropped a little bit. So, I'd be more like, wow, if it was 180 plus 160, but it's not. So, I would still take a flyer on Edmonton. You want to give me odds, life on the line. But again, it's kind of weird because I thought Dallas was going to win. But, So, but I'm not ready to lay a minus 180. That I'll say. If you want to play the game, now you take. It's funny. It's like I wanted to bring this up when we had Lou on, right? And I'm not singling him out because we do it ourselves. It's you ask someone like, who do you think's going to win? Tonight, we'll just say. And they'll say, well, I got Dallas in the series, so I think Dallas is going to win, and I'm rooting for Dallas, and this, that, and what have you. Yeah, I said, yeah, but do you really think they're going to win? Well, yeah, I got Dallas in the series, so I'm going to start hedging. I'm going to actually be betting, Edmonton to hedge a little bit. Like you don't get an honest answer anymore when you ask a sports fan, who do you think's going to win? You get, well, I bet Dallas earlier in the series, so I'm going to bet Edmonton tonight to hedge a little bit. Who do you think is going to win? Like the simplest sports question, the basis, sports fandom 101. Who do you think's going to win is like no longer there anymore because of just hedging. And I got Edmonton to win in 5, and I got Dallas to win in 6. So it's amazing how
it becomes the hardest question of all, Scott, because we all have so many different situations playing out with our series tickets, with game totals, with player props, and we're rooting for something on all different sides of the ice. So when we sit down and go, well, who's going to win this one? A lot of us look at the value we're getting on those underdogs. I really do think it's Dallas tonight. I think this is a deeper team, so I'm pretty convinced in this team. But that being said, if Dallas goes up by 3 goals, I have no problem coming back on Edmonton plus 1.5 and trying to middle this situation here. What about you?
Yeah, I got no problem with that. You know, in fact, I just put in Dallas minus 1.5 plus 144, Joe. I think as this game gets more and more desperate for Edmonton, they're going to be taking more and more chances, and you know the choke thing. So if Dallas scores this next goal, then I might hop on Edmonton the other way and try and middle it in between. Edmonton has stretched where they played like 8 of 9 games, 1-goal games, but the last couple have not been. So, but I don't think Dallas is losing either. Yeah, I really don't. Not going to lay minus 190, like I said, but I don't have any issue laying a goal and a half plus 134 now. Well, a little bit lower than what I just got of that. So I think they win the 5-3 range tonight. I kind of had to peg like 5-3 empty netter, 4-3 a goal, or even 4-2 with the empty netter. But I do think they win by a couple of goals tonight.
Oh, I'd love to see it. I really would. And that's not just me as a bettor. It's also me as a Calgary Flames fan. Put Edmonton down one more notch. Let's get this series over and done with and see Dallas advance. I really do think I can't see a way, Scott, that the Edmonton Oilers take this series versus Dallas. Can you see any possible way? There's always a way, but I just don't trust them out there. They don't have the depth.
Yeah. No, I don't. It's I don't know what it is, Joe, with these superstar players, whether it's Austin Matthews with Toronto or Connor McDavid with Edmonton. It does show that it takes more than just a couple of guys on a team. Edmonton's, fairly deep, but down 1-0, 4.5 minutes in tonight. Not looking good.
Using the parlays against one another, right, and being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
InGame Live, PrimeTime, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back InGame Live. Prime time here on the grid. Little NHL update. Yes, the goal horn is on because we have another goal, Joe, and it's another Dallas Stars goal. Just looking at it now, corner of my eye. If the first one was semi-soft, then this one was like a pillow. Yeah, you got to make that stop. It was a little wrist shot, to Skinner's right. That it kind of went underneath his armpit, And just like that, 5 minutes in, and I was going to play, I'm such a dope. All these goofy bets that I put in, and we didn't get a chance to talk about goal in the first 5 minutes. And I was going to play that thinking Edmonton was going to come out flying. They were giving you a decent little price, and I didn't. And we had 1 goal, we had 2 goals in the first 6 minutes. Anyway, we would have hit that 1 goal in the first 5. So 2-0 Dallas. Who got the goal and the assist, for the Stars?
I believe the assist was Lindell and Stankoven for the goal. So 2 goals, 4 shots on goal. To say Stuart Skinner isn't having a bounce back is a slight understatement here, Scott. I'm looking for some improvement out of Skinner in this one, but 50% of their goals have gone in so far. So not a good start out here on the ice. Edmonton has had, are you ready for this? 0 shots on goal. The defense here is taking the puck away from them left, right, and center. And they just did it again, getting it back into Edmonton's zone. This is a phenomenally strong Dallas Stars team. They've come to play tonight. They're looking to take this back to Dallas 3-1, Scott, and they have every opportunity to do so. The books now have them at -410 on that money line. Laying 1.5 on that puck line is -150, and the Oilers +1.5 at +118, +290 on the money line. Total sky high at 7.5, but juice to the under at -162, Scott.
They showed a picture of Jack Campbell, the backup goaltender for Edmonton, on TV there. So you have to wonder, Joe. I mean, 2 goals, 6 minutes in. How long for Stuart Skinner to be in this game? If he lets up 1 more, right, they would definitely have to yank him, especially if it was a bad one. So the poor Edmonton fans are like, what happened?
But can you trust Jack Campbell? When was the last time we saw him on the ice? I don't even know, Scott. He could let in 20. Yeah. Wow. Scary situation.
At this rate, we got Skinner letting in about 40. So he's not going to help his if you had Skinner saves, he's certainly not helping the issue. And then you said no shots on goal for Edmonton.
Not a single one.
How's that? That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And they don't even have, like, shots missed. Sometimes shots on goal can be a little deceiving, right? So they got a couple shots missed, but not that many. It's amazing. They're not getting the puck. In fact, 1, 2, 3 shots missed. So it's not exactly like they've been peppering it and just not getting it on target. So, all right, we'll put that aside for us. Yep, put that aside for a second. Let's squeeze in this the Black Cloud for tonight's here on a Wednesday in SportsGrid. All right, a little baseball action. How about that for the Black Cloud, Joe? We'll head out to Seattle, where we're fitting for the Black Cloud and rain, right? Mariners hosting the Houston Astros. I got to go over 7, believe it or not, with Verlander on the hill. The Astros had 7 runs or more in 5 of the 9 games that Verlander has pitched. So, 7 is definitely, capable. And then George Kirby pitches for the Mariners. And the Mariners have had 7 runs or more in 8 of Kirby's 10 starts. So that's a pretty good chance that they're going to get at least the 7 runs, which is what you would need for the push. And I know everyone thinks Seattle's an under machine, but they're really not. It's about 50-50. If you look at their ledger, they do have a lot of games that get in the 8-9s. You wouldn't think so, but they do. So give me I really like the over. I think we're going to get some runs. I don't think it's going to be like, 10-7, but is 5-4, 5-3 a possibility? Yes, I do think it is. So Houston playing a little better. Seattle's playing a little better. Julio Rodriguez definitely playing better for Seattle as well. So give me the over 7, Houston, Seattle, Joe.
Yeah, I like this one. I do think both pitchers have strong days, so I'm riding their strikeouts as well, Scott. So we can talk about that a little bit after the break. But Verlander, 6.5 strikeouts, and George Kirby, 5.5 strikeouts, both plus money to the over.
Okay. And Jose Abreu back in the lineup for the Astros. He's been a strikeout machine, which could help those Kirby strikeouts. We'll talk about that. Look at the other baseball games as well when we come back. In-game live prime time here on the Grid on a Wednesday.
parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
InGame Live, PrimeTime, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offensive defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is InGame Live, PrimeTime here on a Wednesday evening. Scott Wetzel, Joe Bad sitting in for Dave Sherapan for another hour. We're taking you right up until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We got Cam Stewart later this hour. He'll talk a little pucks, a little PGA Championship or PGA Tour stuff as well, golf action. And in the meantime, it's Joe and I watching the hockey. It's 2-0 Dallas, Joe. We got a bunch of baseball games that'll be starting here in a little while. We'll run those down. We got some games that are in progress as well. But for the new viewers and listeners, what do you got your eyes on tonight?
I've got my eyes on so much out here on the ice. I did take Dallas's team total over 2.5 at -138. And I'm loving that I took it right now as Dallas leads this game 2-0 over the Edmonton Oilers with 8 minutes still left in the first period. But I played a couple other things in this one. I was expecting Skinner to come out stronger. Now he's allowed 2 goals on 6 shots on goal. So he's got a long way to go over his save shot on goal prop, which I took at 23.5, expecting him to have the same ability he's had in other playoff games off a really bad game to have a nice solid bounce back. I expected this one to stay under the 5.5 as well. So I need things to kind of slow down, but Dallas to keep this lead here, Scott, because they did play them straight up on the money line. So I was looking at that, and before the break, I touched on the fact that I'm liking Justin Verlander and George Kirby to go over their strikeouts tonight. Justin Verlander coming in here with a number of 6.5 strikeouts, and it's giving us plus money at +110 to the over. He went 6 innings versus the A's in his last game. Adam was able to record 9 strikeouts. Now, I know the Seattle Mariners aren't the A's, but I do think he can have his way and limit the bats as long as he's out there for those 6 innings. So give me him over 6.5. And then George Kirby, 4-1 on the season at home with a 2.93 ERA. He's been able to get those strikeouts on the board, 34 strikeouts in 30.1 innings pitched at home. And I do think in this one, his number of 5.5 is just too low. It's +124 to the over, Scott. So I'll take that to the over, but I do still think this game can get to your over there. I'm expecting both of these teams to be able to get the runs at some point in this game.
All right, I do like the Kirby over one. Now it's juice. FanDuel a second ago still had it at 4.5, but -160. But still, that's one of those where I'd rather have the lower number. I'll pay the juice and just accept less money that I'm going to win. Don't bet anymore. Just, if you're going to bet whatever you're going to bet, $10, $100, just know you're just going to win less. That's how I kind of view those things because with Jose Abreu back in the lineup for Houston, he struck out a couple of more times last night. You're getting almost like a free strikeout or two when you go up against guys like that. So I have no problem betting the over strikeout total with him. So let's run down some of these games, Joe, and we'll get back to the hockey here. It's got a break in the action. So Houston at Seattle. Mariners do win last night. They get the first of this series. Seattle 6-1 in Kirby's last 7 starts at home, so they've been doing a nice job with him on the hill. Houston rebounded after losses, 6-1 their last 7 after their last 7 losses, and 13-5 under last 18 road games. So Seattle, Houston. Ultimately, who do you think is winning?
Oh, that's the hardest question of all, Scott. How can I trust the Houston Astros to bring those runners home? I don't know if I can. There's been so many times they've left those runners stranded and left my bet in a losing position. I'm not getting enough value on the Houston Astros tonight, so I will lean on the Seattle Mariners at home to be able to get the win, to bring the runners home and push us over that total. So give me the Seattle Mariners in this one.
All right, I like Seattle as well. I think they find a way to get the job done. Stankies losing last night against the god-awful Angels. Gill versus Anderson tonight. Stanks 5-0 in Gill's last 5 starts, believe it or not. 6-2 their last 8 road games, last night aside, obviously. And L.A. 1-6 at home in Anderson's last 7 home starts. Yanks laying basically 2-1. Don't want to do that. So for me, it's lay a 1.5 or not. I'll lay the 1.5 with the Yanks.
I love where you're going with that. I would lay the 1.5 with the New York Yankees as well. I played it a little bit different. I altered their total runs in this one, Scott. I'm taking them over 5.5 runs instead of the 4.5 runs to get some plus money at plus 120. We know the bats have been quieter than expected as of late, and I'm expecting a huge offensive day out of them, getting at least 6 runs in this one against Tyler Anderson. And while he has some solid numbers, I just think the Yankees are due for a 6, 7, 8 run style game. And with Gill getting the start here, I do like his strikeout number. His strikeout, you can alt it to 6+ strikeouts at plus 142. He's averaging under that on 7 on the season, but he's been on fire, and I love his ability to get these strikeouts on the board. He's had 70 strikeouts and 27 hits on the season, and it looks like Edmonton just scored, Scott.
Okay, there we go. I did bet they're over a half a goal. So, boy, the goals are coming fast and furious here, huh? 3 goals in the first period.
Crazy.
I didn't see it yet, but there we go. That's the whistle when we get the goal horn. Even strength goal. Now, I don't have any Edmonton
Did Dallas
guys,
score it themselves? Did Dallas get the No, they didn't.
No. It was who?
It's
safe or out? It was
Oh,
safe.
okay.
Not sure what that means.
Well, we got a 2-1 game. Yeah,
we got 2-1 game. Regardless, either way, it's 2-1. So
yeah, it was McLeod with the goal for Edmonton.
McLeod.
If you bet Ryan
Right.
McLeod, you got the goal.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, right on the doorstep.
Perry and Nurse.
I think Perry actually had the shot. He might get an assist. Yeah, how about that?
Perry got the assist. There we go.
It was 7-1. And it's funny, Joe, because I think you said that they gave Corey Perry goal props 7-1, but they weren't offering Corey Perry point props. And he gets a point.
He does. There was not a 1 point out there, Scott. Like, I can't believe it. You couldn't even take him for I tried to alt. I tried to see if they were like, okay, he'll probably get a point tonight. Let's put him at 2+, see if anyone's willing to bet it. They didn't have anything for him. No points at all for Corey Perry. Only the anytime goal at plus 700. It's crazy.
Now, you just wonder. I mean, how would Scott, what do they do? He's going to have a shot on goal and get an assist? I don't know. Maybe, why would you offer one and not the other, right? If you don't want to offer any, okay, I get it. But why would you offer him to score a goal but not get an assist? Sometimes you just scratch your head with these things, right? Just How do they know? They knew, okay, there was a good chance he'd get at least an assist, and people wouldn't, or would bet that, I guess. All right, so 2-1. So Oilers not rolling over. Over, under, and everything else. Stars is down to minus 205, still pretty hefty favorite. Edmonton plus 158. Over, under is 7.5. Little juice both ways. And we got 5.5 minutes left to go in the first period. So,
wow.
Buckle up on this one, Joe.
Minutes.
It's going to be, could be a good game. We figured it would be, right?
Yeah, we did think it was going to be my under 5.5. I tell you, that is not looking pretty, Scott. I need everything to just stop out there and then Dallas to score a goal in that third period and call it a day. But for yourself, I know you're riding the over 5.5. So how confident are you feeling in that over 5.5 right now, Scott?
Yeah, pretty confident. Pretty confident, I must say. If we can get Jason Robertson to score. And I was like that close to, using, what's his face, Wyatt Johnson, who scored. But I said, let me just go with Robertson. He scored a hat trick. He's hot, maybe a little, whatever. See, again, that's the fickle fate of game. Like, you got to have, gambler's luck, which I don't have. I'm debating over 2, and I picked the wrong one. Not that Robertson still can't score, but it would have been nice to have Johnson as the scorer. All right, in-game live. Primetime continues.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer, too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. And it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on a Wednesday. We got NHL hockey, postseason hockey going on. Oh, those feisty Oilers. They've tied it up, Joe. There you go. Wow. All right, so we kind of wrote them off for dead, and I'm trying to see who got the goal. It wasn't one of the main guys. Who was it?
Evan Bouchard, their offensive defenseman.
Oh, Bouchard. Oh, okay. It wasn't one of the main guys. Yeah. Oh, boy, he's had a tremendous postseason. Boy, he's had a great postseason. Wow. A little wrist shot, rebound, perfect. It was a bad job by Ottinger, right? I mean, one guy's coming in on the left. He took the shot and just kicked the rebound right to the guy on the right. He was wide open. That you can't, you may say when you look at it, it's like, all right, the goalie had no shot, but he caused the no shot. He's got to make that save and not let it kick to the right like that. So, all right, so there you go. Edmonton. I know Dallas was, I think 4-1. I didn't, sometimes you remember the numbers, other times you don't. I'm guessing Edmonton was right around plus 240, 250 or so. If you thought they were going to come back down 2-zip, and they have. So now they're back to being a favorite. Boy, in a span of less than 17 minutes of ice time, Joe, you went from Dallas underdog, Dallas favorite, Dallas monster favorite, Dallas miniature favorite, to now Dallas back to being an underdog. I mean, you could have, made your money, to pay the mortgage in less than a period of play here if you grabbed Edmonton after they fell behind 1-0 and then maybe even 2-0. So,
yeah, the emotional rides of sports betting, right? And it looks like Dallas is going on a penalty, so there will be a power play here for the Edmonton Oilers, and I'm not sure who took it. Flaska took the penalty. So Edmonton, we know how strong their power play is, Scott. Do you think the Edmonton Oilers can convert on this one? The Dallas Stars have had a strong kill. They got 2 minutes here.
Yeah. 2 minutes, yeah. He knocked the guy over, too. Pretty, a little trip, yeah. Yeah, it was a good call. He was about to cross the blue line. We'll see. We'll find out if Edmonton can score. Over under 8.5. Is this going to be 5-4? Is that where we're going? Or think, that's not a bad underplay. You would still need 5 more goals. That's a lot of goals. 5-4. I did like the over, but boy, I tell you what, if you had the over 5.5, I would hedge right now. I'd give me a 3-goal middle. I'll take my chances if this doesn't go to 5-4. It could, It's only really 4 more goals, right? Then you force the 5th goal, but I don't think we're going to get to 9 tonight. I don't think.
I know, and Edmonton almost scored right there. They were fighting in front of the net, almost getting it in past Jake Ottinger. So as someone who took the under 5.5, Scott, I can't touch this total again. I don't want to take it over the 8.5 because I did expect goaltending and defenses, and I'm not brave enough to take this to the over 8 or the under 8.5 either because how strong these teams are. We've already got 4 goals in this first period on 6 shots for the Dallas Stars and 10 only Edmonton Oilers. It's crazy. Edmonton is really pushing on this power play out here. They've been 0 for 5 on the power play in this series versus the Dallas Stars. So this will be a huge momentum boost for this team if they're able to score here. And Dallas has struggled to get it out of their zone.
See, this is the Edmonton team. Right across the crease. This is the Edmonton team I expected in the first 5 minutes of the game, Joe. We didn't get that. We got an Edmonton team that was falling asleep still from game 3. I don't know why it took them 5, 6, 7 minutes to get their legs going, but they clearly got them now. You're right. I mean, if they don't score, it's not because they're not trying or not controlling the power play. They definitely are. And neither goaltender, I must say, is looking great, right? 3 of the 4 goals that I've seen, even if actually all 4, because the first Edmonton goal, Ottinger just kind of left the puck right there in front of the net, and the guy kind of snuck it in there. But that was what he should have held on to. He didn't. So, not big on betting over 8.5s, and I'm not going to. But if it ends up being 5-4, I understand. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be shocked either, Scott. This first period's coming to an end here. We've got under 20 seconds left in it. Dallas plus 104, the Edmonton Oilers minus 132 in this game tied 2-2 apiece. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's the end of the first period right now, right? With this score. This is what I thought we'd have in the third. Wow.
It's true. Right. You just need to skip a period. That's all. Can we skip a second period and just move right to the third? then maybe
exactly.
You got a shot.
That's all I need. Right. And
listen,
Edmonton...
you've seen a lot of games, right? This could be 2-2 third period. It wouldn't be the first time, we'd have a crazy first period. There was a Colorado game this postseason. I forget which one it was, but very similar. I had the over, and they didn't score any more goals and ended up going under when I only needed, 2 more after the first period. So it could definitely happen.
On that note, the second period under 1.5, could I tempt you on plus 115, the under 1.5 in the second period as they go to the locker room? I want to take it, Scott. I want to so bad because my instinct is the goaltending here is better than what we've seen in this first period. But will this offense continue to roll on both sides? Man. Guess what the over is juiced at? Minus 155 over 1.5.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Kind of tough to go under, right? When you've seen these 2 goaltenders do what they've done this first period. But it's amazing how things can just flip, once they get into that locker room and the coaches yell and scream at the defense and the goaltenders maybe step up a little bit. But see, if I had what you could have done is instead of bet the under 8.5, you could have bet the under or the over the under 1.5. This way, if it goes over, then you win your over 5.5 bet. You could have kind of hedged that way. Many different ways to kind of hedge your original bet. You could have done that, I suppose. So, all right, we'll take a break and we'll look at some of the in-between periods, figure out some bets for the second period, and we'll look at the baseball as well. In-game live, prime time here on the grid.
Using the parlays against one another, right, and being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer, too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. And it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time here on the grid. Scott Wetzel and Joe Madden until 10 p.m. Eastern time. Cam Stewart will join us in about 5 minutes. We'll take a look at the hockey stuff. We got a little baseball. We got some golf as well with Cam's weekly golf picks, Joe. So let's let the hockey settle in here a little bit. Let some lines develop. Let me just run down some of the baseball stuff. Oakland and Tampa Bay, Devil Dogs and A's tied at 3, bottom of the 8th inning. Over under 7.5. Do love to play these overs when it's only a difference of 1.5 runs, when we're a half an inning or so away, inning and a half actually, from going to extra innings where, both teams can score easily. So I'm going to take a flyer on over 7.5, and hopefully we get, like I said, an inning and a half of scoreless baseball and head to extra innings tied at 3. So over 7.5, Tampa Bay and Oakland. How about that?
I like where you're going there. I did hit the Oakland A's pregame straight up on the money line with the starting pitching matchup with Joey Esta coming out. And I do think the Oakland A's have the ability to get the win here as well. I just haven't loved Tampa's team offensively as of late. So we have another goal, Scott. I got to go back to, oh no, it's intermission. I just saw Edmonton score again. I was like,
say,
my
what?
God, no. I thought we had another one. But, that scared me. So I'm going to totally take the Oakland A's again at plus 154. They have the ability to win this one.
All right. Washington, the Nationals leading the Braves 5-2. Major League debut for Spencer Schwellenbach for the Atlanta Braves. They brought him up from Double-A, highly touted prospect. Didn't do too well today against the light-hitting Nationals. Gave up 3 runs on 5 hits and 5 innings of work. Did strike out 5. Not horrible, but, for the first start, I guess not too bad. But that said, I did lay the minus 155 on the Braves. I figured Atlanta, Joe at home, minus 155. Not going to see that too often. Well, you're finding out why. Gore, 10 strikeouts for the Nationals tonight. Not bad if he played that. So they're in the top of the 7th right now. Little flyer if you want on the Braves, plus 520, or maybe plus 2.5 runs at plus 116.
I'm stuck in this one, Scott, because I did take the Nationals at plus 130 on the money line coming into this one. I just didn't know how strong Spencer would come out. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm going to leave that up to you. But against Mackenzie Gore, I looked at Gore expecting him to come out so much stronger. So I played a little bit on the Nationals in the first 5 innings as well as the full game. So I'm going to hold my breath here because we know it is the Atlanta Braves. As we get deeper into this game, right now we're the top of the 7th, and it does look like the Nationals have runners on 2nd and 3rd, but we know anything could happen with these bullpens here. So I wouldn't count out the Braves right now, but I wouldn't jump back in on the Nationals either.
All right. Milwaukee 7-4 over the Cubs. And there's 2 storylines to this for Cub fans, and neither one is good. One, they're losing 7-4. 1,300 on Milwaukee, plus 690 on the Cubbies. Over-under is 14.5. Top of the 6th inning, I wouldn't touch that one. More importantly, Joe, Imanaga pitching today did not have it. And I had forgotten about this, but Ranieri reminded me, Joe, when I was on Game Time Decisions, they skipped his last start. And we were talking, and I said, Joe, you skip a start in May. That's not a good sign. You want to skip a start in July and August, okay, the long wear and tear, take a break off. But if you're a pitcher and you need to skip a start in May, that's not good. And now his first outing since that skip start, 7 runs in 4 1/3 innings, 2 homers, 8 hits. Those, Joe, are numbers like comparable to what he's done all season in 9 starts. I honestly don't think he's given up 7 runs in his previous 9 starts combined. That's how, out of whack this game is today. So that's not a good sign if you're a Cubs fan.
Yeah, not a good sign at all, because you look at the home road splits. His road numbers were 3-0 with a 0.38 ERA overall on the season, 5-0 with a 0.64 ERA. Like, he's been so phenomenal. So, yeah, there's got to be something going on with him here for the Brewers to hit him that hard. I had taken the Nerfy in the under 3.5 in the first 5 innings. It bit me. It bit me hard today, Scott.
5 runs. He'd given up 5 earned runs heading into tonight. Tonight he gives up 7.
Crazy.
So that's like I said, there's got to be something wrong, right? That you just don't do that. You can't be that hot and cold like that. So, All right, quick break. Cam Stewart will join us next. We'll do a little golf, a little baseball, some hockey as well, right here on the Grid.
parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you use, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
InGame Live, PrimeTime, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is InGame Live, PrimeTime here on a wonderful Wednesday. Hopefully making a couple of shekels along the way. Scott Wetzel and Joe Madden, joined now by the guy who takes over top of the hour, along with Gabe Morency, Cam Stewart, who's got some golf picks for us, some hockey picks, and probably some baseball plays as well. What's going on, Cam? How are you tonight, bud?
I got to tell you, Wetzel, after we'll say that I've lost my prime minister status of Canada, I think Joe's a better candidate to be the princess / prime minister of Canada. After you see the golf picks, I did a show with Carver. Carver's now the prime minister of Canada with 4 Canadians outright with his golf picks. Just a little teaser. I don't have him outright, but I'll tell you this: did a podcast today, had Stankhoven for a goal, 5-1 anytime goal, and Bouchard. Nice. So it's been a great start. Did have Dallas in the first period. Didn't like that second goal by Edmonton. Just 2-1 would have been perfect, Scott. Then I could have made some more shekels and roll it into the golf, which I like to do every single week. But what a hockey game. I'll give Edmonton all the credit in the world. Dallas scores a third goal. That building was it was a funeral parlor. They probably would have pulled Skinner. We probably would have seen Pickard after that. Like when Dallas went up 2-0, you could hear a pin drop, and I'm thinking that's the wrong team to go down against. But you know what? The Oilers showed a lot of guts in this game, and let's give them credit for that. Dallas is usually the team that comes back, and I thought the Oilers were going to fold their tent, but we got a hockey game. 4 goals after the first period. We're on the original over. I don't know how this thing's going to stop, Joe. Scott, it's like you could play whatever total. Like the way things are going right now, like Skinner doesn't look great. The Oilers have tons of momentum, but it is a break. I will say this break is great for the Dallas Stars to regroup and get back to playing their road style of hockey, tighten up a little bit. I think they got loose after the 2-0 lead. And that's what we see, guys, with the NHL. No lead is safe. Like, no lead is safe in this league anymore. Just bet teams behind 2 goals. Like, it's unbelievable. We saw Florida come back. They lost in overtime before, but every single game, 2 goals, it's a death trap. So you just take the dog, and hopefully you got plus money on both sides, guys. But I got to tell you, that was one of the most exciting first periods of hockey I've seen in a while. 2-2.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. Not feeling good. I had the under 5.5, Cam, but I do have Dallas's team total over 2.5. I don't know what I was thinking. Who do you think wins it?
I think Dallas wins this game, Joe. I think it's really tough because Edmonton's playing well, but I got to stick to what I'm doing right now. And right now I'm looking at the live line. Edmonton's the favorite right now on my FanDuel account. They're $1.30, and I get plus 105 with Dallas. 8.5 is the total. Oh my God, 8.5. Okay, I almost want to take the under, but I can't. Like, it's just one of those situations. It's 50 cents to the under, too, because a 4-4 game, you're screwed. And I wouldn't be shocked if both teams scored. But, Joe, I'm going to take Dallas again at plus 105 in this spot. I just think they're a better hockey team than Edmonton. They had an emotional breakdown there, but I'm on the Dallas Stars in this game. I think they find a way to get it done, like a 5-4 game. I feel bad for your total, Joe. You're going to need an absolute miracle. Like, literally, like, I don't know how that thing stays under 5.5, but I don't know, Scott. How do you feel about it? The Oilers, they got life, but Dallas, in my opinion, is just a better team.
Yeah, that's what Joe and I both kind of thought that. And although if you would have told me before the game, Cam, that it would be 2-2 after one, I'd be a little surprised because I figured Edmonton would come out flying, but not completely. But I would not have had it Dallas scoring the first two, Edmonton scoring the last two. I would have had it reversed. I would have thought Edmonton down 2-1 would have come out flying, score a couple of goals, and then maybe Dallas settles in. But you seem to think the otherwise because you picked Dallas in the first period.
I did, and I just take Dallas in the first period because they've been such a good road team. And as you saw, when they were up 2-0, they put teams in bad spots. I don't know how Edmonton came back in that game, and that's the thing. They got that 2-1 goal, and then you saw the fans. They went from dead to alive, and that changed everything. That's all Edmonton is. They're a team. Their fans will absolutely, like, if they're down, if Dallas gets the next goal, these guys are going to be miserable. If they make it 3-2, it's going to be tough for Dallas because that building's going to be rocking. But anyway, I'm on Dallas. I'm going to fall on my sword with this team. The goal market's been great, Scott. I'm not sure if you watched the video. I'm a Verhege guy, and Verhege got me goals for Florida last night. I'm on with Stankoven at 5-1. That's my new thing. Why am I betting games? I should just bet people to score goals and get points. But anyway, let's hit the Canadian Open in Babano's backyard, Hamilton, Ontario, even though he's from Dundas, about 15 minutes up the road. Let's go. Unlike Joe, who's a very good Canadian, I'm not. I'm an international guy. Give me Shane Lowry. A shot of Jameson and a Guinness at 25-1 with the Irish Bear. Alex Noren is playing great golf. He's made every cut this year. If you can believe that, that is so hard to do in golf. He's 28-1, and he'll thrive. This course is very short, par 70, 7,000 yards. He keeps it in play. What do you need this week? You have to hit it straight. The only course's defense is trees and a little bit of rough. Other than that, if you keep it in the short grass, you're going to go low. Tommy Kim, 35-1. He's starting to trend in the right direction. Scott, I'm not sure what your beverage of choice is, but sometimes a Ryan Ginger will do when you're sitting back and watching us blow money on SportsGrid. Ryan Ginger, always a nice drink. Aaron Rye at 42-1. Who else do we got here? Ooh, we got Ash K. Batea, the genius from Pepperdine at 55-1. This kid's IQ is like 200 and his golf game's fantastic. Take my buddy Braveheart, Matt Wallace, 100-1. And a friend of the program, Nasty Nate Lashley at 150-1. He's won in Detroit. Very similar course to what we're playing in Hamilton. Top 10 finish. My boy Jeff Feinberg's crush. Tommy Fleetwood, plus 180. Lost in a heartbreaking playoff to Canadian Nick Taylor last year, plus 180. What else do you got for me, Gary Graphic? I know we got more. Here's the Canadian content for Joe Madden, the Princess of Calgary. Plus 180 for Mackenzie Hughes, local product. This is a home game for him. Not sure if he's going to win, but plus 180 for a top 20 we like. Top Canadian, Adam Hadwin. I'm going to take him as top Canadian and for a top 20 finish at plus 185. Top 30. Is it Mark Messier? No, it's Mac Meisner. Watch out for this guy. All of a sudden, he came out of nowhere. Who's Mac Meisner? Watch golf. You'll figure it out. This kid is electric at plus 170. Top 40, my boy Wallace, plus 120. And an old friend, Moops. Is it Moores, you idiot? No, it's Moops. Ryan Moore. Old man Moopsy, plus 190. I love the gray beard. He's like me, getting older. Hey, you might need some Just for Men. But hey, at plus 190 for a top 40, I'm in. That's what we're going to do. First round leader, Scott. This is the market. Sahith Theegala, 35-1. Like. Hot, sorry. Yeah, you know what? You wake up in the morning, check the leaderboard, Wetzel. If you got money, run away from your family because your wife's going to say, hey, Scott, I heard that you got some picks from Cam and you got money. You're like, sorry, honey, out the door. Get out of town, Scott, and get over that toll. Don't give them a cent. Cameron Young, 45-1. He might not win. Mackenzie Hughes, good starter at 50-1. Eric Von Ruin, EVR, the South African who played at the University of Minnesota, Golden Gopher, Joe, you're too classy. You don't eat Svensson dinners. Who needs Swanson when you got Adam Svensson at 70-1? And I'm all in Matt Wallace this week, Scott. People might say I have a crush on this guy. 90-1 for a first-round leader. Let's get some first-round leader monies. 2 out of 3 weeks we've won. Problem is, Xander Schauffele's not in this tournament, or I would have taken him to be the first-round leader because he always comes through.
Cam, the energy tonight's absolutely electric. What's your favorite bet of all your bets?
My favorite bet of all my bets. Oh, Joe, you asked so many good questions. Shane Lowry, I will take Shane Lowry in a top 10, 20. I will take him in a matchup bet against Rory McIlroy at like plus 282. Rory McIlroy's the favorite at 3-1. I know he's going through divorce and stuff or a lot of problems. I don't know about the guy's personal life. If he hits it straight, I'm in big trouble. But Shane Lowry, in my opinion, is a more complete golfer for this type of course. It's all about his putter. But Shane Lowry's my guy this week. And I'm telling you, watch out for long shots. It's a short course. So if you want to take a flyer, like on Wallace at 100-1, my buddy likes Lips. David Lipsky, watch out for him too, Scott. He's 250-1, and I did some research. This guy actually has a good chance. So it's a short course. Small ball hitters can get involved. So if you want to swing for the fences, do it this week at the Canadian Open.
There you go. And the good thing about those guys also is if they just are doing well, they'll offer you a buyout and you'll make some money even if you don't think ultimately they're going to win it all. So, yeah. Cam Stewart, Gabe Morency, top of the hour. Cam, great job as always, my friend.
You guys.
We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I'm out of breath.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
InGame Live, PrimeTime, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back, InGame Live, PrimeTime here on the grid. The only thing about Cam, he's a great guy. Just wish he had a little bit more energy, right? He's a little kind of laid back, a little too much for me, right? It's
kind of flat tonight.
Guy's amazing. He's unbelievable. You get him with these golf picks, and just like that's it. He'll put 150 of these. See, that's the thing with these golfers, right? All the guys that play golf a lot. I don't play, betting that much. A little bit. I love his first round picks. To me, that's where you get like a whole bunch of value, right? But you got to play so many, and then but you may get one winner, but you bet 35 bets, and the winner pays 25 to 1. You find out you lost money because you got 35 other losers or 34 other losers. So, but he's a lot of fun to talk to. All right, so 2-2. Here we go. Back to the hockey. They're getting set to start the second period. We can't possibly, right, have another period like that. So 3.5 minutes in, right, started already. It is down to 7.5 already, so they dropped it a full. I kind of figured that 8.5. Whether you think ultimately, Joe, it'll be 5-4 or not, that's one thing. But somewhere along the line, I figured there was a chance for you to middle it. And it only took 3 minutes. You could have bet under 8.5. It wasn't heavily juiced. A little bit, but nothing crazy. And now if you wanted to, you could hop in at over 7.5, and it's not really that much juice. So the only thing is 8's a little tough. I mean, 5-3, but you get 4-4. You got to you have to have a ninth goal. You're probably not going to get 6-2. So the only way you get 8 for that actual middle is 5-3. Could happen, but I'd wait for it to get down to 6.5.
Yeah, I agree with you. Interesting thing they just popped up. Corey Perry now has 11 playoff points in his 10 career games versus the Dallas Stars. So one of those points coming tonight. I wish the books would have given us his ability to get that point tonight. Scott, do you think Corey Perry could actually, I would have played it too. Do you think if he plays strong enough tonight that they're going to put him in the game for the next one? Or do you think they'll keep shifting these lines?
I think he'll probably get another shot. He's already got 1 point. It wasn't an assist. It was a shot, and then the guy hit the rebound in. So it's not like he set the guy up, but that's how a lot of these guys get their assists. So, but obviously they've scored a couple of goals already. So they need more offense. I would think he'd get another shot at it, Joe. Listen, they acquired him. He sat for a long time. Even if it's 2-2, if they were to win, then okay, certainly you got to play again. If they lose, you're down 3-1, elimination, might as well put them in there. So I would think, yes, either way he's going to be there. But we'll see. If he ends up giving up a puck, that leads to the game-winning goal for Dallas, then no, we've seen the last of Corey Perry. But at this point, he seems to provide a little bit of a spark.
Yeah, and it's good that he's provided a spark coming back into the lineup with Ryan McLeod being able to get the goal out there. So it's good to see that total still sitting solid at 7.5, minus 118 to the over, to the under, minus 102. So that juice is lightening up on this one to the over as these teams have 15 minutes and 40 seconds left in that second period, Scott. So it's looking pretty even out there as of now. Both teams are able to get it in their opponent's offensive zone, and those shots are starting to come in. So hopefully we'll be able to see the shots come in this one. I would just love to see this one stay under that 1.5. That live under 1.5, the juice is now ticking up on it. It's now minus 140 to the under 1.5 in the first period, Scott. Or in the second period.
All right. How about overtime? Plus 240. If you play the money line, you can get plus 250, so you might as well do that. So you think we're going to overtime, plus 250?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I jumped on it pregame. It was plus 330. I do think, though, if you're thinking the goals are going to come in, I would wait till another team scores, and then they're going to give you more value on that overtime bet. But if you think this stays 2-2 going into the third, and then from the third we go into overtime 2-2, you're not going to get that value there. So it's going to continue to go down. What do you think, Scott? Do you wait, or would you bet it now?
You're 100% right. Clearly, if the game is not tied, you're going to get more, a higher number there. So, but I would bet, whatever you were going to bet, I'd bet half of it now. Wait for a team to score, because somebody is going to score again, clearly. I mean, you would think, anyway, after having, 4 goals. But, bet whatever you're thinking, half of it now, wait for a team to score, and then bet it again after that. The other half after that. So, it's a $10 bet 5 now, put the other 5 on after they score. Because that plus 250 now would probably go... probably plus 350, Joe. I think it would bump up another 100 points or so. It wouldn't double or triple. That's not how the overtime market works. But you'd get yourself another 60, 70 to 100 points, I would think.
Yeah, you absolutely would. And there's actually something really cool on FanDuel. I want to see if you'd be willing to bet this. It's a bit risky here. It will definitely push the total over 5.5, which I wouldn't want to see. But they're offering you Connor McDavid for an anytime goal and Jason Robinson for an anytime goal at plus 2012 right now, Scott. It's one of their little same game parlays. Do you bet it or do you fade it?
I just saw that. Yeah, it's funny. I saw the same thing. And I was looking at that. It's like, wow, 20-1. That looks great. I thought it was either or. And I was like, wow, that's pretty good. But actually, it's both. It's not either. It's both guys. So I don't have any faith in Connor McDavid. But, for 20, it's almost 21-1. Plus, I don't know how they come up with plus 2091. Why would they just make it 21-1? It's kind of weird how they come up with these things, but they do. So, McDavid and Robertson, I would do that. I mean, I think Robertson's going to score. I got him in my other parlay already. So, if that hits, then this one could be it. You'd have a lot of. It doesn't say also regulation. It just says anytime.
Exactly.
So that would, count for overtime. Plus 19-12 now they're giving you. So since we talked about it, they've lowered it a little bit.
Don't keep talking about it. Just bet it quick. Get it in.
I know. Just bet it.
I love it.
Shut up and bet it. Right? Yeah. It'll be down to 18
you need a
in
shirt
a second
that
or
says
two.
that, Scott.
That's amazing.
You need
I'll
that
bet.
shirt.
There you go.
Yeah.
They gave me plus 260. There you go. I'll put it in for $1. Well, just to say we did it. Just to say we did it. All right, InGame Live, PrimeTime. We'll look at the baseball one more time before we're through right here on the grid.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer, too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
InGame Live, PrimeTime, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offensive defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. And it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. InGame Live, PrimeTime here on the grid. Scott Wetzel and Joe Madden as we wrap up shop here. Set to hand it off to Gabe and Cam at the top of the hour. They'll take you over the next three. So let's check the baseball board before we check the hockey one more time. Joe, baseball, now nothing really has changed. Braves still down 5-2. You got the Brewers up 10-4 now over the Cubbies. We talked about that. Nice job by the Royals tonight, 6-1 over Minnesota. Your Blue Jays, I love this. Like I said, they just dominate the White Sox, still up 3-0. They play bottom of the 6th inning. And Yanks and Angels, no score yet. And Astros and Mariners also no score. Both those games basically just getting underway the 1st and 2nd inning. So anything on a baseball board that stands out for you?
Yeah, looking at the game there with the Yankees, you can still jump on them. I really did expect the Yankees to come out nice and strong in this one. I looked at their team total over 5.5, ulting that number up. I know, Scott, you were looking at them on the run line, and I love that run line still. You lay 1.5 at -114 on that run line right now. I could see them winning this one by even 3 runs. So looking at an alt run line isn't out of the question for me in this one.
Yeah, I still like the Yankees. Listen, the Angels are a bad team. Without Trout and without Rendon. For New York to head out there and lose 2, which is what they would have to do if they lose tonight because they lost last night, I just don't see it. And I think chances are they get a couple of runs, a few runs, and win by more than 1.5 or, win by 2 runs or more. So I do like the Yankees laying that. No score top of the 2nd with Verlander and Kirby. And the Mariners, any strikeouts? Let me check, because we're sitting on the strikeout total with that one. Let's see. We have any so far 1st inning? No one's got any hits. Kirby's got 2 strikeouts already, Joe. How about that?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that was a great play. That was a good play.
Kirby coming out nice and strong in this one.
Yeah. Let me see if Pena is in the lineup. He is not. Okay, Singleton is batting. All right, so he's got 2 strikeouts, and the strikeout machine's not even in the lineup. How about that? Okay.
There you go.
Sometimes it's smarter to miss out. Verlander's got 1, and Kirby's got 2. So that could be a halfway decent. Keep your fingers crossed on that one.
And we were both liking the Mariners. We're both liking the Mariners in that one, right? We're both liking the Mariners to get the win? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. -122.
Mariners, we're both on the Mariners, both on the Yanks, both on the strikeouts. So we're teaming up today. So not bad. No goals so far. You're 5.5. When it's 2-2, 10 minutes left, 2nd period. When do you think the 5.5 is back live, Joe, for you, the under?
And not until there's 10 seconds left in the 3rd period. I'm going to sweat it out until that time. That's why it's so stressful taking unders and taking full game totals. That's why I love looking at, the 1st period, the 2nd period, the 3rd period, all individually, Scott. I will be looking at that 2nd period tomorrow for the Rangers. We know the Rangers have been phenomenally strong in the 2nd period. So I'll be looking at them there, but I tell you, in this one here tonight, I got the under 1.5 in the 2nd period as well. I'm going to be holding my breath for this and holding my breath on that 5.5. When do you think it's safe, Till?
If you have the over 5.5, as I do, I'm pretty confident. I would say, believe it or not, if they get 5 minutes into the 3rd period, then I'm going to start here we go. We're not going to get it. You wait and see. Because then it's really a struggle. Then they don't take too many chances. Then it'll be, you need a goal and then an empty netter. Whereas now you just, normal play will get me 2. But if we get 3 to 5 minutes into the 3rd period and it's still 2-2, yeah. Because that'll be no goals, obviously. And then you kind of survive the initial jump that teams have after, a period break. So if we don't get a goal then it's like, this is going to be a loser. So I'm curious to see what they would pop that down to. When would they go down to 5.5 again? 2-2, about 10 minutes left maybe? Then you could bail.
Yeah. With
Probably
2 minutes
that.
left, I think
Probably
you're right. Right? They have to drop it. They can't keep it at 7.5. Everyone bet the under. It's -230 right now to the under 7.5, Scott. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, they don't want to flip it to 6. Clearly, they don't want to flip it to 6. Rangers or Panthers tomorrow. Forget about the series, but tomorrow.
Rangers back home in the Garden. Let's go.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Rooting for Florida. And I still think Florida's going to win, hopefully. Yep. But I got a feeling Rangers in Game 5, though. Joe, great job as always. Do appreciate it. And we'll chat again Saturday night when we do the show from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Thanks, Scott.